to start?
Let's get into it. Come on. All right.
Get into
Beautiful. Okay. Here we go.
Let's do it.
All right.
Welcome to Health Farmers Age of the Plant podcast. We have here today our special guest, Jensen Andre.
Hey guys, how are you? Tuning in from Melbourne.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Yeah, really good, thank you. It's a little bit chilly today here in Melbourne. As you can see, I'm a little bit rugged up, but yeah, doing pretty well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great too. It's also a little bit chilly here in Sydney as well today.
Yeah, we're heading into winter.
We are. Well, thank you so much for your time.
You are welcome.
And for me to introduce you, what tone of voice would you like me to use today?
Nothing too serious.
Nothing.
No, yeah, whatever you like. I don't know.
Whatever I like. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's a tricky one. Jensen Andre, a co-founder of the Vegan Shack and determined plant-based athlete. He is currently training for a full Ironman and after recently completing a half. Jensen is a passionate human who wants to increase the accessibility and the vibe of delicious plant-based foods. An author, public speaker, vegan chef, health ambassador. Let's welcome Jensen! Woo-hoo!
Hey guys, how are you? Good evening. That was awesome.
Thank you. Well, so you ready for our first question?
I'm ready. Let's spin that wheel.
Let's do it. Okay. It's been a bit fun today, so it wants to know, what kind of things make you laugh?
Everything really. I'll be honest. I laugh at pretty much anything. That's a tough one, isn't it? What makes me laugh? I'll literally laugh at anything.
Yeah? So
I don't know.
Really low laughing point like I do.
I'll laugh at anything, even if it's not funny, and sometimes it's probably not right, so I quickly stop. Do you know what I mean?
Like appropriate times of laughing.
Yes, sometimes I can't help it.
I understand that, yeah. Okay, all right, let's go on to the next question then.
All right, cool. That one was, let's go to the next one.
Yeah. All right, it's getting serious now. So
Okay.
It wants to know, what was the biggest obstacle you faced on becoming plant-based or vegan?
I guess the biggest obstacle that I faced when I first went vegan, and probably now still, is not knowing what's actually inside of products, having to constantly read labels to double check, the hidden secret ingredients that companies do put in certain things like food products or skincare and beauty products, or even clothes. I wouldn't necessarily call it an obstacle, but more of like a way of introducing new learning into my life and kind of investigating and doing my own research into that and finding out what that product actually is, and is there an alternative that another company is using that is plant-based. I guess there's just so many hidden products in every hidden ingredients in every product in our daily lives that we don't know about unless we actually dive deep and look into. So you have to really be careful if this is the avenue that you want to take, and you're showing how do I say this, like if this is going to be your way of life and you're doing it for the moral reasons, then you must make sure that you do your research
Yeah, I can totally understand what you're saying. Like, one of the things I've discovered, because I only started my plant-based journey like in February this year. So I'm
Oh, wow.
quite,
Congratulations.
thank you. And then on the journey, I ran into cravings of like, I have like really bad sweet tooth. And
Yeah.
there was one day I really, really want some choc chip cookies. And I remember going to like the healthy food aisle in the supermarket, and
Yeah.
it's a vegan section.
Yeah.
And it had like these choc chip cookies that said no sugar, like huge label saying no sugar. But when you turn around and read the ingredients, there's all different words that is like sweetener equivalent.
Yeah.
And yeah, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so we can commonly be misled by key words and phrases such as organic, no fat, no dairy, but underlying all of that are other little secret ingredients that may be just as bad, or misunderstanding the words, which is it's common when you first go plant-based. Things like dairy, people don't know that eggs aren't actually dairy, so there could actually be eggs inside of a product because it's not classified as dairy. Or even like sub products of different things that actually aren't derived from plants, they're animal based. It's quite tricky. You'll have to research some of the things. I generally go as, if I don't understand what that ingredient is, I don't want that product. Do you know what I mean? Or if I want it that bad, I'll look it up and kind of work out what it is. However, I try and stick to a more plant-based, whole foods kind of eating for sustainability, the environment, and for my own health. However, sometimes I do have those cravings, and when I do, I will make sure that I Google, because 9 times out of 10, that ingredient is actually not derived from a plant. It's either chemically made or it's animal based, like a word that you won't understand. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know about that. Eggs aren't classified as like part of animal products, like, or
Well,
dairy.
yeah. So even if it says dairy free,
Yeah.
so eggs aren't a part of dairy. So that's can be a common like misunderstanding. So a product can say dairy free, sugar free, gluten free, organic, but then you turn it around and it's got eggs in it.
Mm-hmm. So it needs to be it needs to have the label vegan, so it doesn't include eggs.
Well, that's right. Or say egg free as well.
Egg free. Wow. Okay.
Tricky.
It is tricky. Yeah. But I get what you mean. Like, I also started reading labels,
Yep.
but it's not easy because, like, exactly what you said, there's all these words that they just put in there to trick you.
Yep.
And sometimes, like, especially the one regarding sugar, they'll have it in probably 4 to 5 different equivalent words of sugar.
Yeah, that's right.
In different sections of the label to confuse you.
Yeah, yeah. And also it can be quite frustrating as well, going to places that are even cafes that state that they are vegan, but they're not. I mean, I've been to a couple of places that promote plant-based vegan, but they've got milk and they've got eggs, and it's like, it confuses you, and it also confuses the general public as to what plant-based actually is. You know what I mean? So it's a funny world that we live in, that people try and take advantage of those key words to bring in, but then it just messes with you,
Yeah. So. Well, I remember when I first started, I even had to look up what's the definition of vegan and plant-based and whole food plant-based.
You're probably not alone in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we take a step back of like, when you first started, what was the obstacles you went through when you first started on this journey?
I pretty much went, like, I would say overnight. I already knew kind of what vegan, vegetarian was. I already was eating what I thought was a healthy diet at the time, mainly organic and whole foods and stuff like that. But I saw something while I was on my travels overseas that was quite shocking to me, and it was kind of the turning point where I made a decision and researched quickly foods that had no animal products in them at all, and started basing my diet off of that. Of course, later down the track, you learn about clothes and skincare products. Like, it's a progressive journey. Do you know what I mean? And I'm still learning today, and I'm sure you are too.
Mm.
But yeah, that was the turning point for me. And I don't know if I found like I was missing out on anything. I was just so determined, and my morals were in the right place that I wasn't going to let anything stop me from my choices, I guess.
Okay. Do you mind sharing a bit more detail of that journey you went on? Like, how long ago was it? How old back then, and what happened?
Yeah, right. So it's coming up to probably like 5.5 years ago now. I was in Africa. I was in like the mountains doing some volunteer work, teaching children English. And it's probably from me to 5 meters away where I saw a cow being like cut at the neck. Obviously, they don't have the infrastructure to hide everything that we do here, you know, in society where we live here. But it kind of scarred me straight away, and I'm kind of glad that I saw it when I did. Not glad, but I don't know how to really phrase that. So yeah, back when I made my decision, it wasn't really a massive thing in the world. So when I was there, I went straight away, and I was basically eating cans of chickpeas and just whatever I could that would be not related to an animal. And then I kept traveling, and some places were fine, but a lot of places would be like those canned foods and just fruits and vegetables, which is fine, you know, just basic living. And that's when I decided I actually turned raw vegan and was raw vegan for 8 months. And being raw vegan, you have to be very creative with your recipes and the way that you can essentially maybe keep things living, but kind of cook them with acid or dehydrate things to change the texture and flavors to keep your palate jumping around and exciting. So I came up with a lot of recipes that I still use today in terms of like sauces and marinades and techniques that I self-taught myself. And then it came around to winter, and I just craved. In Melbourne, it's the climate is, I don't think it's good to be raw vegan. I mean, it would be pretty hard. And I came to winter and I just craved potatoes, and that's what I had. I had potatoes, and I've just been, plant-based ever since. And then I've tried everything under the sun. I've tried, raw vegan. I've tried keto vegan for 8 months as well. I'm big into fasting as well. So I've done all of the protocols, and I say one body, one life. See what works for you. Try everything out, because you never know. Life's too short. So what works for you may not work for the next person, or what works for them may not work for you. So I try and give everything a go with no judgment and just see how my body reacts.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Just try it out. Because you should see it as it's more options for you. It's not actually taking away options. It's just, and everyone's different.
Yeah, absolutely.
On your journey though, did you go through craving hits? Like,
I never craved anything that wasn't plant-based. I never missed meat. I was instantly, put it this way, I was instantly disgusted at the sight and smell of everything, that I didn't want to even be near it. Or even now, I find it really hard to walk past a place. Yeah, I don't know. I just can't do it. It sickens me, and I understand some people. I always say that people are on their own journey, so I never try and convert somebody or tell somebody information unless they're wanting to hear it. I don't just go out there and give my opinion, because at the end of the day, everybody is on this planet for happiness. If somebody is happy doing what they're doing, great. Let them be. Why disturb that person's happiness? If they come to you with a question, share, no worries. Otherwise, I never push my view onto people.
Well, I love that approach, and that's the approach that what Health Formers is about as well. We're just here to empower listeners with the knowledge and the facts of what's going on out there. Each guest come on and share their journey, and it's just sharing it. And all we promote is it's your health. Go at your own pace, and you can transform your health one bite at a time. whether that means you're full in like you or you're zigzagging your way to health. It's whatever works for you.
Yeah, I think it's more the fact that you should just put the information out there and let people, you know, do as they wish rather than tell somebody what to do, you know?
Yeah. Like when I started on this journey, I actually never ever planned to be going 100%. But it's like you said, like it's a progress, right? Once you're into it, you'll find more new worlds and you'll discover new methods, and then you grow from there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Great question.
Yeah. Shall we continue? Yeah.
Let's go.
All right. 3 words to describe yourself. What are they?
Fun, spontaneous, athletic.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm kind of I'll make a decision last minute type of person. Fitness and health is in my day every single day of my life, and I never take things too seriously.
And that's great. Like, that's
That's why I find myself sometimes laughing at the wrong times. You know, I try, but yeah, sometimes it's at inappropriate times.
Let's go on to the next one.
All right.
I think you've already answered this one. It's asking you what triggered you to be health conscious and why. Did you want to go deeper into it, or? I
don't really know. I guess, you know, I was brought up with no processed foods. Everything was, you know, from the ground, and that's just the way that I was brought up with my mum. You know, cooking in the kitchen, chopping the vegetables. I guess that's how it all started, really. I was always hands-on in the kitchen, helping mum do something. I never had like McDonald's or, you know, all of those fizzy drinks, Cokes or anything like that. It was always pretty like natural ingredients and stuff like that. So I've always kind of had it in me to eat healthy.
Wow.
And I guess like I know now how my body reacts when I have certain foods. Like I'm very in tune and connected to knowing that if I have this to eat, it's going to make me feel like this. If I eat this, I'm going to be able to get, you know, those benefits for my body for this, you know, reason. So whereas some people just eat blind and don't have that mind-body connection to like, cool, I had that coffee, and then 3 hours later I'm feeling tired, you know, or I have that sugar hit, it increases my glucose, my blood straight away, and then I'm going to have a dip, but not knowing that dip is related to having that. Do you know what I mean? Some people don't make those connections, and that's okay. But it's when you start getting awake and feeling and knowing these things, you don't know until you actually start listening to your body.
Yeah, and I can totally relate to that, because what you describe is probably what I was like last year.
Yeah.
Around this time, I was still like that.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it just takes, because you've never experienced it before.
Right.
So if you've never experienced it before, like how are you supposed to know that your body can feel certain ways?
That's right. Right.
And I think like for me, it's like my entire life I've been living with honeymoon goggles.
Yeah.
Like not being able to see it.
Right.
And then it wasn't until I went, the first step I took is I went 70% plant-based. And that is when I started to feel this level of energy I've never felt before. And then the second phase I took is when I went 100% by going to a Life World Mastery seminar that Tony Robbins does. And we detoxed for 1 week. And we went 100% plant-based. And that was when my energy level like was taken to the next level. And after I experienced that, it was like I didn't want to go back.
Yeah.
And then that's when I became really sensitive, because then I started doing my 30-day 100% phase diets. And I'll take a break in between, then I do another phase. And then that way I zigzag and I can feel the difference of when I'm eating really pure and when I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you can't really blame people though, because the world that we do live in, you've just been conditioned to believe, you know, certain things like breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, no, that's not true. It's what you break your fast with. Like breakfast, that phrase is so that they can sell, you know, Cocoa Pops and Nutrigrain, and it's all marketing. It's the biggest marketing scheme, like dairy, like, you know, that's great for your bones and everything like that. No, that's just, have a look at who's supporting these campaigns. It's, you know, the dairy industry, the meat industry. When you look behind all of these studies, it's crazy. But, you know, people like to be comfortable and they like the reassurance that everybody else is doing the same thing that they're doing. So when you step out of that comfort zone, which is very hard for most people, that's when you actually see the results. That's when you start to feel amazing. But that first step is always the hardest, because why would you do something different than everybody else is doing?
Yeah, exactly. And especially when you're the only person in your friendship circle or in
Right.
your family circle doing this,
Makes it even
so
harder.
hard. Yeah.
So much harder. Yeah.
Yeah, but like persistence does work, because I can slowly see how my family is being influenced now. They're
Cool.
taking small steps, but slowly but surely it's working.
That's it.
Yeah.
Small steps. That's all you can ask for. Yep.
Yeah. And when they take the small steps, I'm just like so happy.
So happy, right? Yeah. I remember I made a cheesecake for my nonna one year, fully vegan, and she's like, "What do you mean that there's no cheese in here? Why is it made from cashews?" You know, like just changing their perception of how things can taste. You know, it's great. Small steps, but I find also, like you said, persistence, very very slowly, but also it takes someone from outside of the family to say something to them. For them to start listening. Like I've been, you know what I mean? Like even my sister for years, you know, been trying to, you know, slowly, you know, say things to her and explain reasons why, but it won't be until her friend tells her something that she'll be like, "Oh, I heard blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Yeah, I told you that 2 years ago."
Oh my God, that's so true. Because like I tried to tell my dad something like last week, and I was telling him and he wouldn't listen. So then I sent him some YouTube videos of a professional professor saying the exact same thing. And then he finally started listening, and then he started YouTubing other videos that are on the same subject by other speakers.
Yeah.
And now he's more inclined to juicing.
Yeah, right. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're right.